the road, so she sent me them, and I will do her honors for her.
Okay.
So we'll just jump right into it. The first one is, what did you learn about the team from your first meet, and did anything surprise you about any individual performances, or about the team overall?
Yeah, I mean, I would say obviously there's a lot of highlights. I mean, Jocelyn coming out and debuting for the first time and just performing as well as she did. That was really fun and really cool to see. A lot of other highlights through the meet. I will say, like, obviously there's some clear things we need to clean up. Like, for example, bars. Like we did great bar routines. We just took too many deductions and steps forward on dismounts. And so that's something that we're really taking away from that first meet. And obviously counting a fall on beam wasn't ideally the way we wanted to start, but a great learning lesson for us. Just honestly figuring out how to want more and have high expectations as a program and want it really bad, but not let that affect us competitively. That's really the challenge of the team right now. So they're so well prepared. I definitely think they're going to bounce back, especially on beam this weekend. But I will say, I mean, not a lot of surprises. I mean, we were just so prepared that anything that was really good was just, I mean, kind of expected. A little surprised by Beam just because they had been training so well. And Callie Sweeney in particular, like I think seen her fallen on a series maybe 2 times in the whole preseason. So more of a mental mistake than a technical or gymnastics mistake. But those are kind of the takeaways from the meet.
Yeah, so building off of that, what kind of improvements do you want to see on vault and beam after the first meet?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of great vaults. I will say, obviously Frankie kind of had a little mishap and rushed a little bit, and then Priscilla first time competing on 1.5. So we just kind of needed to see what that was going to look like for the first time, but she definitely has plans to clean that up. So obviously the ones that did great vaults, just continuing in the same direction and getting a half tenth better, and then the mishaps, obviously doing a little bit more normal what we do in practice. Um, yeah, and I forgot the second part of the question you asked.
Yeah, what improvements do you want to see on vault and beam after
Okay.
the first meet?
Okay. Well, I addressed Vol and then, Beam obviously just hitting 6 strong routines and just the way we train is definitely what we want to see this weekend.
So thinking about that, do you think that there were any nerves involved, at first meet jitters, anything like that we saw last week?
I think there was. I mean, I think that's pretty natural for any team to have those kind of right out of the gate first meet jitters. I think we definitely figured it out by the end of the meet. You saw by our floor performance that they just kind of relaxed into their normal and finished really strong on that event. So I'm really hoping we can kind of start where we left off on that event when we go to bars at Auburn. But yeah, I think there were some nerves involved. I mean, first meet against 3 really great teams on podium. I mean, that's really kind of to be expected. But hopefully we can continue to grow in our confidence to where, no matter the opponent, the podium or no podium, like we're not affected by those things.
I've got one more while we're still on last week and looking to Auburn, and then I'll turn it to Evan and I'll circle back at the end. What did you think of Katie and Maddie's debuts over the weekend? Maddie with a T.
Yeah. Yeah, just really pleased with both of them. Both did really beautiful bar routines, especially Katie. Just, I mean, that double out dismount, maybe people don't know, but that's brand new for her. She learned it when she got to Arkansas in the fall. So to do that and stick it, just saw a lot of confidence from her. And she's one that we'll definitely be seeing on more events. She's training the all around right now. It's just a matter of like score potential and whether or not she breaks into those lineups. And then Maddie Walagora, just, what we saw from her is kind of what we expected with the level of, competitive experience and maturity that she has. So I know she's going to continue to get better and better each week.
All right, Evan, we'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, cool. Hey, coach, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Kind of to jump, I guess, a different direction because two of those three were my questions I was curious about for you. When it comes to the floor, we saw how good you guys were last year, and again, you hope to build off of that, of course. But is there anything maybe that you can expect over the next couple of weeks that wasn't necessarily shown in week 1, especially on floor, which was so strong for you guys to kind of close out in Oklahoma City?
I think one thing that we'll see over the next couple of weeks is some changes in the lineup, just because I mean we're competing Friday at Auburn and then back home on Monday and then back home again on Friday. So we've got 3 meets in 7 days. And so we're not planning on running the exact same lineups all 3 meets. I just don't know if that'll be possible. So depending on how athletes are feeling, we'll definitely see some other competitors in the lineup. And we've got so much depth on specifically floor and also beam as well, that we're gonna play around with those lineups and just kind of get some people some good experience. I'm really looking forward to that.
You touched on Jocelyn kind of in the first answer to the first question in your first answer. Curious, did you kind of, could you imagine it going so well, tying for first in the all around last weekend, or is that, obviously expected it's an Olympic athlete, but is that maybe, exceed your expectation? Where does that fall in what you thought her debut would be?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty on par with what I expected, I would say. I mean, Jocelyn like lives for those big moments, and I think there's a lot of build up to her collegiate debut. She was so excited and also has competed on many big stages before. She's just one of those athletes that thrives under the pressure and loves to perform. And so we had a really strong feeling that she was going to show up and show out on Saturday night, and she did just that. And she can be even better. I mean, she had a really uncharacteristic wobble on her dance on beam, so she's got even more in her that I know we're going to see, and I think she's going to be really consistent for us this season.
Awesome. Last question, and then I'll turn it over back to Emily. Curious, you go from Oklahoma City last week, which is a quad with 12 other teams. Maybe the crowd isn't necessarily what you might think it would be now, to being on the road and being in Auburn, where you're going to hear the Tiger fans really loud. How do you kind of prepare the team for the difference in atmosphere when it comes from a meet kind of like that now to a sole meet in the SEC against another SEC team?
Yeah. Well, I think, one of the things we talk about is like whether it's a dual meet in SEC on an away trip or it's a quad meet, there's lots of opportunity for distractions. And sometimes it's the crowd, sometimes it's the cameras or other teams. And so we talk a lot about just really keeping our bubble tight and not letting anything penetrate that, really focusing on us and the energy that we're creating from within and not relying on a crowd to do that for us. Because when you're at an away trip in the SEC, like the crowd's not cheering for you. So, we're just going to go in there and do our jobs and take care of business. And that's what we plan on doing.
Thanks, Coach. I'll turn it back over to you, Emily.
We have more questions from Coach from the rest of the group. If you just go right ahead. Otherwise, I have another. All right. So you mentioned the schedule a little bit. It's a busy week, 3 meets in a week. But first one at Bud on Monday. We've had a lot of meets there, but does this one feel any different now that it's home and all of them are going to be there for the whole season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does have kind of a different special feeling just because, we're starting our season out in there and we're going to maintain for all 5 meets. I'm really looking forward to Monday because it's a tri meet and that's a different thing than what our fans are used to. So it's going to be really dynamic and a lot of gymnastics going on at one time, which I think our fans are going to love. And it's also MLK Day. So we're just really looking forward to that celebration and really kind of using that as an opportunity to lead us right into LSU on Friday. Just to get people excited. I mean, we're such a strong team this year with so much potential. We want to show up for our fans and win a lot of meets in Bud Walton this year.
Do you have any more questions for Coach? All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here. I'm going to have our production crew stay on for everybody else.